How long have we been on this rock? 5 weeks? 2 days? Help me to recollect. The Lighthouse is a 2019 psychological horror film that was directed by Robert Eggers, the same director that brought us the visionary film The Witch, or the Vitch, however you want to pronounce that title, that came out a few years back and was very popular amongst horror fans. This is actually the third film in 2019 to be released by a director who had previously established himself in the horror genre. You had Us, which was, of course, Jordan Peele's second horror film after Get Out. Over the summer, there was the Hereditary director Ari Aster's second film, Midsommar. And now we have Robert Eggers' next film after The Witch, The Lighthouse. And I only recently saw The Witch for the first time. I absolutely loved the film, and perhaps I'll even talk about it here on my channel. Great film, and I was really excited to see what The Lighthouse would do. And a little side note, a little side blip, if you will, the trailer and all of the teasers for this film were so good at keeping the story ambiguous, and I love that. Keep doing trailers like this. Also, this is an A24 movie, which to me right now is dominating film, especially horror films. Yeah, there's Blumhouse, and there's some other, Universal spin-offs, and there are other companies producing horror films right now, but I don't think there is a company out there doing it as well as A24. So a shout out and a kudos to A24 for really bringing the art into horror. I really loved Us, which was Jordan Peele's second film, and I actually think I might like it more than Get Out. That's a separate video topic. Midsommar, I didn't quite like as much as Hereditary, though I respected it for what Ari Aster was trying to do. And now we have The Lighthouse, which I guess you kind of can compare to The Witch, but it really is so different, it's hard to talk about the two, even in the same room, necessarily. The Witch was more of a religious folk piece of film, and The Lighthouse is very much psychological, very much inspired by Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, which is my favorite horror film of all time, so it's nice to see a film that's paying homage to those classic horror films from the past. I was really excited to see what this film would do. And overall, I'm very pleased in The Lighthouse, but I can't say that it was the best horror film of the year. I did have some flaws with it, and I want to talk about what I liked and what I didn't necessarily like with The Lighthouse. For starters, though, let me talk about all of the praiseworthy things that this film did. Robert Eggers has an eye for capturing the look he wants. This film was shot in a very unique way. The aspect ratio is very tight, very small, and it was shot on cameras that look like 40s era cameras. This is old film stock. This is a really nice looking film. Everything's shot so beautifully. The cinematography deserves an Oscar this year, but other than that, just the presentation is so creepy. You feel isolated on this island where the lighthouse exists. The performances, they're really just two characters in the entire movie. You have Willem Dafoe's character, who's kind of this veteran at the lighthouse gig, being on this rock for so many years, and he has a dark past. And you also have Robert Pattinson, who I guess you would consider just a name from Twilight, at least I knew that, but he really shines, and he does a great job in this film. Both of those actors really deserve Oscars as well. But everything about this movie is great. The way it's shot is great. The acting is great. It's the narrative that's a little bonkers for me. And I love bonkers. I love The Twilight Zone, The Shining, like I said, Kubrick stuff. So I'm used to having really weird stuff bombarded in my face, but this was something else. This was really, really off the wall, especially near the end, where things didn't quite make sense to me, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. And that's what I want to talk about. I really did like this movie. So, essentially, the main story is Robert Pattinson's character is a very young guy. He's trying to escape his past, and he goes out to this lighthouse where Willem Dafoe is the lighthouse keeper, and he must take care of the lighthouse with him. They end up staying there for perhaps a little longer than expected. They don't know how long exactly because they keep getting drunk on this lighthouse, and they end up kind of going insane together. And I love that it's so psychological, you can't even tell which of the characters is being rational or irrational at different times. You can't tell when they're drunk, when they're sober. Maybe they're always drunk. It's just so off the wall. There are some weird things, too, involving a mermaid. Not going to get into too many spoilers, but there is a siren in the movie. The lighthouse itself is really creepy. And again, the cinematography and the way it's presented is so well done. It's hard really to talk about this film without getting into spoilers. And really, even the fact that I've seen it, I still don't exactly know how to explain it because it's very unlike most things that I've seen. But with that said, I did enjoy The Lighthouse, and I do recommend it to horror fans. Now the question comes down to, is it better or worse than The Witch? And that's a tough question. Personally, I've seen each film once, and just from seeing them within the span of a month together, and for the first time, I like The Witch better, and that's because I love the religious symbolism in the film. It reminded me of The Exorcist. But I love The Lighthouse because it takes risks. It is very ambiguous, and it can be taken in so many different interpretative ways. Look, I can't even talk in this review because it's so bizarre. Point is, The Lighthouse is a very well done film. I'm excited to see what Robert Eggers does next. I don't think he's done with horror anytime soon, unlike Ari Aster, who wants to move into sci-fi. The Lighthouse is a film that I recommend you watch. Overall, I'm going to give The Lighthouse a 4 out of 5 skulls on the R.I.P. Reviews rating scale. Thank you for watching this review. I'm going to get into some spoilers right now because I gotta talk about this movie. So let's jump into those.
What? 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 Daddy! Let Neptune strike ye dead, Winslow! Hark! All right, have it your way.
So Robert Pattinson's character had a dark past. He allowed a coworker, he worked in a timber yard, he allowed him to die while watching. And he wants to escape that. He tells that to Willem Dafoe, and Willem Dafoe knows that this guy is bad. He curses him, and suddenly things take a weird turn. The light at the top of the lighthouse, Willem Dafoe gets naked in front of it, and there's tentacles that come out and start making weird suction cup noises. There's weird stuff dripping from the ceiling. The storm crashes into the lighthouse, basically destroying it. And it was just odd. There was a mermaid, and Robert Pattinson tries to get jiggy with the mermaid. It was really weird. So, apparently this is an allegory for several things. Could mean that Robert Pattinson's just going really crazy on this lighthouse, and he's trying to escape his past. He's getting drunk, trying to forget everything, and he's just seeing things, like in The Shining, perhaps. Or maybe there actually is a supernatural curse that is inflicting him because of what Willem Dafoe said. There's no definite answers, and I like that, and I respect The Lighthouse for making me think. I saw this film probably at this point almost 2 weeks ago, and I'm still thinking about it. It's still really weird, and I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Did you understand what Robert Eggers was trying to get across in this film? Did you enjoy it? Do you think the narrative was too weird to be enjoyed? Or did you like the filmmaking elements and respect the craft at hand. I want to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and remember, for all things Halloween, this is Hauntformer.